My people, once again, welcome back to this platform. We need to watch this. A lady from South Africa Broadcasting Corporation, and she said something that shook the entire hall in that African summit where Macron was actually in. Now, she asked a simple question. She said, will Africa be colonized again in a different way? Because there are a lot of perception on the continent surrounding this colonization. What happens to our forefathers, then back. So, are we going to witness the same thing around this time again? And she posed that question to the two leaders on live stage. So, now what are we going to look at? We are going to watch what Ruto said to the woman. What was Ruto's answers? Yes, despite I will not play Macron's part because he was speechless. Whatever he is saying does not actually amount to the question that the lady actually asked. Nah, he was beating around the bush, so I don't think it's necessary. But it's like this woman actually humiliate these two leaders live. Let's watch.
Thank you so much, President Macron and President Ruto. My name is Sophie Mkwena from the South African Broadcasting Corporation. My question is that there's a perception out there, particularly from the Africans on the continent, that the continent was shortchanged during colonialism, and we are likely going to do the same, see the same. Can you kindly assure Africans on the continent that this time around this will not be the case? Thank you very much.
Let me begin with a question from Sophie. Sophie, I think, from SABC. And yes, this continent was a victim of brutal colonialism, all the way to slave trade, exploitation, and everything in between. The African Union led in the charge for independence. We now have 54 independent states. You have asked us what assurance we can get that this will not be repeated again. I can tell you without fear of any contradiction that we do not need any assurance from anybody. We will do it ourselves. We will not allow ourselves again, as leaders from this continent, we will take charge of our own destiny. And that is why a conference like this is taking place in Nairobi, because we are recalibrating our relationship with our partners. And we have been absolutely clear that this is a relationship of equals. At the heart of this relationship is sovereign equality. At the heart of this relationship is not extraction, is not exploitation. It is investment for mutual benefit. And we are not entitled. We are not asking, to be favored. No. We are asking that we know we have responsibilities. We also know that others have responsibilities. And the reason why we had a candid conversation this afternoon, even amongst ourselves as Africans, there are things we can do for ourselves. The challenge is when you go and seek for help for things you can do for yourself. We cannot continue that way. And we are saying we are up to the task. Let me give you an example. We had a candid conversation this afternoon that while we go and look for financing our projects using other people's money, we have money in Africa. We have $4 trillion of savings in our pension funds, in our insurance companies, in our reinsurance companies, and yet we are not using that money to fund our own development. The first thing we need to do, and we have agreed with Africa Development Bank, we have agreed with Afri-Exim, we have agreed with Trade Development Bank, Africa Finance Corporation, that before we go and look for money from other people, we must structure our own DFIs to unlock these $4 trillion of our own resources to finance our development. So we will not allow ourselves to be exploited again, because we know what we must do. And what we are saying is we don't want to also blame others for our own mistakes. President Kagame told us today that nobody owes us development. We owe it to our own selves. So we mustn't look for favors where we can do it ourselves. Secondly, Aliko Dangote told us today that our own private sector in this continent must first and foremost invest in our continent before we go looking for other investors from elsewhere. Yeah. The question people ask, if our own private sector does not have the confidence to invest in our continent, why would private sector from elsewhere have the confidence? Yeah. If we are not ready to mobilize our own resources here in Africa, resources that are available to us in pension funds, in insurance companies, why would anybody else use their savings to finance our own development? So first things first, we must take the lead as Africans, as policymakers, as private sector leaders in taking charge of our own development. Any other support we get from friends like Macron and other people will be secondary. To answer your question, we will not allow ourselves again to be slaves of anybody. We are going to take charge of our own future. Number two, somebody has asked tangible progress. What tangible progress have we achieved here? And how are we going to approach the G7? Let me say the following, that we have agreed on three fundamental things. We've agreed, number one is we must develop an innovative mechanism of raising resources at scale, at speed, for our own development, and it starts with us. All we will be asking at the G7, in fact, we will not be asking for money from the G7. What are we asking from the G7? We are asking them to put in call-up capital. We are asking them to put in guarantee, not money. We will use our own institutions to mobilize resources to undertake our own infrastructure development. That's what we'll be going to the G7 to do. Simple. You know, in the past, we've been going to ask for aid and loans and things and more. We are saying there are things we can do by ourselves. Number two, we will be having a conversation as an outcome of this meeting on our human capital dividend. Our young people, the people of this continent, are the greatest asset that we have. They will form the workforce of the future, they will form the market of the future, and they will drive innovation, creativity, artificial intelligence, and technology. So we have one of the biggest assets. What we have agreed is, how do we make that, how do we build the capacity for that asset? Through education, through training, making sure they have access to the internet, making sure that they have access to technology. The rest, the young people of this continent can do it for us and for the globe. And finally, we have agreed on energy transition. That energy transition is not just going to be about energy. It's going to be both transition in development and transition in transformation itself. So energy being, because I have said in my closing statement, there is no region, no country that can industrialize in the dark. We need energy. So these are the three most important things that I see as a take-home from this conference. And I'm very, very proud of the outcome of this conference. And I want to thank my brother Macron for being here with us, using his network to work with us. And we came here as heads of state because we know that first and foremost, it is our responsibility as heads of state in this government to take charge of our own development. My good brother is here as a friend, and we can only leverage on his friendship to be able to get to others so that we can fashion one trajectory for development together.